This is Matt from the Rockology Show, and we just heard a brand new track from Gotthard. The track was named Bang off their brand new album, just going to be released here in the States shortly. And on the phone we have lead singer Nic Maeder. Nic, welcome to the Rockology Show.
Hey, thanks, man.
I do have a big question. Actually, it's a question it's been kind of bothering me a little bit, and I just have to know if you could answer this for me. Who exactly is Katie? Because I know she's on the album a couple of times, so I figured I'd ask you directly. Who is she?
Yeah, well, Katie's kind of this character that we created, you know, but it was actually kind of loosely based on a real person. You know, we played in this festival called the 70,000 Tons of Metal, which was a cruise going out of Miami last year, and actually, no, it was the year before even that we did that. Yeah, 2012 it would have been. And I just kind of met this girl there, and you know, in one of the bars, and it was just this, you know, kind of really crazy party girl, and that got really drunk with basically 2 drinks, you know. So it was just kind of we wrote a song, you know, wrote a song about her, and it was just a funny thing, you know. And we kind of kept this character, and she sort of, you know, comes in a bit, and she's even the front cover of the album is Katie as well. So yeah.
Well, I noticed that Dennis Ward actually, basically, I believe, wrote the first track on the album, Let Me In Katie. Now is Dennis Ward is the bass player for Pink Cream 69. So I'm assuming you guys probably have a pretty good relationship with Dennis and the band as well, too, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's a good friend of ours, and we actually we played together as well on the first tour that when I joined the band with Unisonic. So I kind of got to know the guys there as well, and yeah, it's all done with friends, you know.
I mean, that being said, you are the brand new member to the band. I know you're the new singer after, unfortunately, Steve Lee died. You have 2 albums underneath you. You have the first album, Firebirth, and of course, Bang. 2 albums down now. What's it like being in the band? I mean, you got your butterflies and your cold feet and all that. Is that all out of the way and you ready to go?
Yeah, thank God. I think it was. I mean, we you know, when I first joined the band, we had so much stress. You know, I mean, in a short amount of time, we had to write an album, put it out, tour, and you know, we were sort of doing. I think we did about 22 different countries and 70 shows, and you know, and made an album and everything in that same year. So it was a lot of pressure and a lot of eyes on us, you know, in that way. But this time around it was really we had more time to make the Bang album, and we also musically we knew each other a lot better as well. So we just sort of experimented a lot more and kind of allowed ourselves to push the boundaries a bit with the band, you know, and even in a lot of ways we really wrote this album specifically for my voice, you know, whereas sort of the first time around we just jumped in and whatever happened. So really different way of doing things this time around.
I'll say this. I mean, I've had a chance to listen to both albums and listening to the older material as well. And I think definitely the second album really does play into your range and your vocal style. So I think that approach and going in that direction, I think definitely is working for you guys. And I guess I have to ask this because I know when you were first introduced as the new singer, and of course they released that first track, I believe it was Remember Me. Yeah, exactly. Now, I guess I'll ask this because you're very comparable in style to Steve Lee and his vocals. Was that something that they knew they wanted you pretty much in mind, or was there a huge, extensive search to find the singer? Because, I mean, I think personally you were ideal to replace him and carry on the name of Gotthard.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks. They went through a lot of people. You know, it was. I think they auditioned around about 400 or so people, 450 people, I think, or something. But I mean, it wasn't just a singer that they needed either. You know, I mean, they really wanted I mean, the guys have been together for over 20 years, you know, and they are still really good friends, you know. So it's they just really wanted another member of the family, you know. So I think that was probably really one of the hard things, you know. We just, I suppose, being Swiss myself, you know, because I'm sort of I was born in Switzerland and my family's from here, and I really lived my life, you know, half of my life here, and in a lot of ways, the fact that we're all Swiss definitely made things a lot easier for us, you know. And I mean, there's a lot of different factors, you know. It's really hard to tell in the end. I mean, the audition, even with me, the whole thing went on for, I mean, it was around about 8 months of auditioning, you know, before we actually started. You know?
Let's just say this, and like I said, I'm extremely glad that they picked you as a vocalist. I think, and I'm going to go ahead and add this as well too. I know there's been a couple different guitar players in the band. I know Maeder was the guitar player previous to Freddie. And I know when Mandy came into the band kind of went in a different direction and added a different sound to what Gotthard was doing. And I'll reiterate that when Freddie came into the band with the Lip Service album, the sound also changed as well. So in a way, I think the inclusion of both you and Freddie into the band, I think it's been almost like a punch in the arm for the rest of the members in the band. And I just think I see you guys. I've seen some of the footage of you guys playing in concert. You guys seem rejuvenated and out there. And in a way, I think you're trying some different stuff on the albums, and I really enjoy that.
Well, I suppose we're just really trying to keep it fresh, and even though the band has done so many albums and everybody wants to keep doing it, you know. Everybody's still gets really excited about writing a new song and going through the whole process, you know. And I don't think, in a way, I don't ever see that ending, you know.
Well, I guess you could say, and I can hear the influence, and I can hear the influences going all the way back to the very first Gotthard album. I mean, clearly the band's been influenced by bands like Zeppelin, AC/DC, Whitesnake, Deep Purple, especially with the Hammond organ. To me, the band seems to have found a formula that works for them. And I know a lot of people out there would sit there and say, well, formula is not a good thing, but some of those bands, including Whitesnake, Def Leppard, basically are consistent with the type of music that they're producing because that's what their fans want to hear, and it sells records. Now, would you say that there's a Gotthard formula for the music that you guys are doing, or is it just something that, like I said, comes naturally when you guys go down to write the music?
I mean, there's definitely a style that we have to kind of stick to, but but we still, it's in a way, it's a band that's always had, kind of different, well, a lot of different styles within the same album, you know, and they're really the extremes with the really the full-on ballads and then the really heavy stuff and everything in between, and going from with orchestras and I mean, even with this album, I mean, there's even a song with accordion in it, you know. So it's I think the band's always had that, still sticking to the style, but somehow have always been able to really explore every aspect of it, you know, and in a way, I think this album we exaggerated that even more, you know. But I mean, one of the things that Leo Leone, you know, he's co-producing the albums as well, and he really keeps the band sounding like Gotthard in a lot of ways, you know. He sort of really keeps an eye out on that stuff. He's very specific in sort of how the band should sound, you know. So that's probably another aspect.
Now I know primarily Leo, Freddie, and yourself are the primary songwriters for the band. So how's that process like? I mean, do you guys? I mean, I know all three of you guys play guitar, which I think is an asset.
Yeah. Well, generally it'll be Freddie, Leo, and myself, and we'll sit down together and write the music together first. So. Maybe, you know, one of us will bring a song, and then we'll literally, you know, pull it to bits, pull it apart completely, and put it back together until all three of us are happy. And then once all the music's done, then I'll go off and do the lyrics on my own usually. So that's generally how it works. I mean, sometimes you might sort of things might happen a bit differently, but that's sort of probably 90% of the time that's how it works.
Now you say you go off and write the lyrics on your own. Do you lock yourself in a room, or how exactly? Or is there a place where you go to write these lyrics, or is it just something that comes to you when you're doing it? Is there a particular way you go about doing that?
I think it's kind of different every time. I mean, some songs I can just sit in my lounge room after rehearsal or something, and then write a song in one evening or a couple of evenings or something, and then sometimes it can take me weeks and weeks or months even. I mean, actually this album was quite funny. I wrote a lot of lyrics I wrote in the train, because they've got a really great train system here in Switzerland, and because I had to do a lot of travelling around, instead of wasting time driving and not kind of wasting the hours, I thought, well, I'd take the train and actually use the time and write. And they have these great little business compartments in these Swiss trains, and you can plug your laptop in and just go ahead and work, and not be disturbed. So I actually wrote a lot, probably half of the album I wrote on the train.
I mean, that's got to be some creative time spent there. I mean, a lot of people here in the States riding the train or commuting definitely aren't writing the lyrics for the next album. So whatever you're doing, like I said, I'm really enjoying this album. I think sound-wise, I mean, it's revigorated me as far as Gotthard's concerned. And I do have to say, because I know it's been very difficult for bands such as Gotthard to break into the American market, the United States, and tour. Now, I'm going to go back, and David Coverdale from Whitesnake, Deep Purple Mark III, basically said this years ago in regards to the American market, that at one point they could embrace a certain sound of music and really love it, and then just overnight, something that they loved the day before, discard and move on to something else. And he never quite understood why, if you like something, you don't continue to like it, at the same time also like other types of music styles as well. And I would agree with them. I never understood that here in the States, where the rest of the world can embrace.
I think it's probably due to, I mean, it's particularly nowadays, that's how it is, everything's digital, everything's, you can, I mean, that's exactly what seems to happen with all the kids. I mean, they love something and tomorrow they hate it. I don't know if it's, because there's so much out there. There's so many things getting thrown in their faces that people just kind of, I don't know, follow trends, and then I don't know. But one thing anyway that I've learned about music is that you just don't know. It's impossible to predict anything. It's and even to make theories is just kind of really difficult as well. I've never quite understood the whole music business and why and how, maybe one song you might think is a terrible song and then it becomes a hit, or the other way around. You think you've got an amazing song and everybody hates it. Or why something sells and why something doesn't, and just I don't know. I never quite understood it.
Well, let's just say this. I mean, and I will say this because I have to keep appraised of what's going on in different parts of the world, and the music coming out of, like I said, Switzerland, Finland, Sweden. I mean, you have bands coming out of Sweden that are doing more of the LA sleaze type rock music that are becoming really successful. One of those bands, Hardcore Superstar, I know you guys are going to be playing with. I mean, there's a whole slew of different styles emerging out of different parts of Europe. And me personally, I feel a lot of that music is some of the better music coming out now. And I know there's some new stuff coming out of England as well as the States. So it's me personally. I'd love to see you guys make it over here to the States and actually put together some sort of shows so the people here in the States could actually see them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. We'd love that as well. But it's true. I mean, in a lot of ways, these bands are always. I don't know if it's because maybe it was doing so well. The guys were always doing so well in Europe that they just kind of stayed there. But I know that for a European band to try and break the US, I mean, it's really expensive, and it's really you would have to almost forget your fans in Europe and really work it hard, and yeah, I don't know. So it sort of never really happened for them in America. Yeah, funny.
I mean, like I said, hopefully. Like I said, I know Hardcore Superstar is one of those bands that I really enjoy, and I'm glad to see you guys are playing. And they've even mentioned that financially wise, it doesn't make sense to come over here to the States. I'm hoping maybe a couple of the bands.
Yeah, I mean, so we, you never know. We might get a good offer or something, and then we can do it.
I mean, like I was sitting there saying.
I mean, we'd love it. It's not that we wouldn't like to do it.
I'm just saying, I think maybe you guys should get together, a group of some of these bands, and come together, and definitely the fan base is here to see you guys play. And I think if you guys were able to do something like that, put together some of those bands that are really big over there that do have a following here in the States, I think it might be something that's feasible down the road. And let's just keep our fingers crossed in that regard.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
Now I'm gonna ask you a question or two here. I'm gonna put you on the spot because I know previously to joining Gotthard that you were actually a fan of the band as well. Now going back and looking at their previous catalog, did you have a favorite album of theirs coming in?
I had a Die Hard album at the time because that was right at the time when I got to know. That's actually the first album that I got to know from the band. So. Yeah, that was always pretty amazing, and funnily enough, I was actually putting out my album at the time with a different band, and so it's it's sort of an album that brings me back to those times, So it's definitely Die Hard.
So I would say, because I know Mal and Mama's on there, and I think there's a couple other tracks that you guys still include in your set list, so you must really enjoy playing those songs.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. They're just classics, really, Gotthard classics. So they always go down well too. The people who always have a good time. They always really enjoy it when we sort of play all those old songs, and they're just good rock songs, and a lot of fun to play.
Yeah, and another thing too, I want to say too, and the fans have to appreciate what you guys are doing over there because you guys seem to change up your set list on a regular basis. It's not like you guys are playing the same songs over and over. Now, do you guys have a core of songs that you guys choose from and decide to play any given night, or how do you guys go about choosing the set lists?
Well, we generally, we know that there are a certain number of songs that we have to play that people will get upset if we don't. So they're always in there, and then we really just mix it around a bit, and maybe someone will remember a song, and just kind of go, well, hey, what about this one? We haven't played that one in years and years. Why don't we try that? And this time we're putting quite a few new ones in there as well. This time around, with this album, it was really difficult because most of these songs actually sound really good live, So it kind of made it really, really hard to choose which of the new ones we were going to play, and we just kind of ended up playing a lot more. So there's quite a few new ones this time around.
Now, one of the questions we like to ask our guests on the Hard Rockology show is Spinal Tap moment. Now, I know you've been in a band for a couple tours now, and I know you previously had your own band. Has there been a Spinal Tap moment for you that really stands out?
Well, there's definitely one for me. Getting lost, getting lost in a stadium backstage. That actually happened to me.
Now, did you ever make it to the stage?
And not being able to find the stage. Yeah, I did eventually. That's actually happened to me. Yeah.
Nic, I want to thank you for joining us here on the Hard Rockology show. And I want to wish you and the guys in the band, especially Leo, Mark, Freddie, well, basically the entire band, I want to wish you guys well. Good success on this new album, which I think is one of the best albums you guys have put out in recent memories.
Okay.
So I'm really looking forward.
Thanks a lot, really.
I'm really looking forward to the opportunity finally to get a chance to see you guys. But like we do for all our guests. Why don't you go ahead and take us out by introducing one of the new tracks and maybe telling us a little bit about that track on the new album.
Well, actually, it was the first single that we put out on the album, a song called "Feel What I Feel," and it was actually kind of a dream that I had. You know, sort of dreamt that I've met, you know, the love of my life, and of course, sort of waking up and realizing that the whole thing was just a dream, and this person never even existed. But you kind of still remembered the feeling, you know. And funnily enough, it tends to happen to a lot of people, that dream. So, yeah, thought I'd write a song about it. It's called "Feel What I Feel."